Now go on to myofunctional appliances. We'll introduce the myofunctional appliances, we'll classify them, and then we'll go through in brief in the activator, bionator, Frankel, as well as the twin block. Looking at the history of the myofunctional appliances, we had 1879, we had the bite jumping appliance by Norman Kingsley. In 1902, we had the monoblock by the Pierre Robin. We had 1909, we had the activator by Vico Anderson. In 1905, we had the Herbs appliance by Emil Herbs. 1950, we had the bionator, Willem Balter, by Balter's bionator. In 1957, we had the Frankel or the functional regulator by Rolf Frankel. In 1977, we had the twin block, which was given by by William Clark. I'll be only discussing the functional appliances which are relevant to your undergraduate curriculum. Malfunctional appliances are defined as loose fitting. This definition is extremely important and you all should know about it. Malfunctional appliances are defined as loose fitting or passive appliances which harness the natural forces of the orofacial musculature that are transmitted through the medium of the appliance. So treatment principles that malfunctional appliance works on is mainly the force application and force elimination. What are the basic functional components of the any malfunctional appliance we have? It's the bite planes, the shields, which shield away the abnormal muscle function, and the construction or the working bite. Looking at the classification, the basic classification is the removable functional appliance, the fixed functional appliance, for example, the Herbs, and the semi-fixed functional appliance like the Denol's appliance. So removable functional appliance, the example is activator. Classification as given by Tom Graeber, tooth-supported appliances like the Catalan, teeth or tissue-supported appliances like the activator and the bionator. We have the vestibular positions, appliances like the Frankel appliance. Then we have the classification which is also given as the myotonic appliances or the myodynamic appliances, which depends upon the muscle mass, or myodynamic, which depends on the muscle activity. Classification given by Profit for the we need to know all these classifications when malfunctional definition and classification could be asked. Tooth-borne passive appliance, that is the activator and the bionator. The tooth-borne active appliance, that is activator with the expansion screw, and tissue-borne appliance, that is the functional regulator. Then classification is also based on the transmission of forces, that is group 1 appliances like the oral screen, group 2 appliances which is the activator and the bionator, and group 3 appliances which is the Frankel appliance. What are the actions primarily of the malfunctional of the functional appliances? They primarily have the orthopedic influence. We have the dentoalveolar changes and we have the muscular changes. Understanding the advantages, they enable the elimination of abnormal muscle function and aid in normal development. The treatment has to be initiated at an early age. Therefore, psychological disturbances are avoided by early treatment. Less chairside time as it is manufactured mainly in the laboratory. Less frequency of visit to the dental clinic. Does not interfere with oral hygiene, and nighttime wear has a good patient acceptance. What are the limitations, however? These appliances cannot be used after the growth has ceased. It is mainly depend on the patient compliance, and last but not the least, fixed appliance therapy may be required after the malfunctional appliance. So basically, this works only on more of the orthopedic changes and muscular changes. Vestibular screen, it works the principle of both force application as well as force elimination. Indications of vestibular screen are the interception of habits, mild distal occlusion, performs muscle exercises, and corrects mild anterior proclination also. What are the modifications that we see for vestibular screen? We have the HOTS modification, which has the metal ring for muscle exercises. We have the double oral screen in tongue thrusting patients, and we have the oral screen for mouth breathers, where the holes are fabricated on the labial screen. Management of the appliance: patient should wear the appliance at night for 2 to 3 hours and 2 to 3 hours during the daytime. Lip bumper, it's combined removable appliance, also known as the modified vestibular screen, can be used in both arches to shield away the lips away from the teeth. You see the indications are lower lip habits like example lip sucking, hyperactive dentalis that causes crowding, augment anchorage. It is also used to augment anchorage. It is used also for distalization, where the lip bumper is kept away from the teeth, and the pressure of the lip helps in distalization of the molars. Space regainers if the molars have drifted nasally. Yes. Appliance design: appliance is made of thick stainless steel wire extending from one molar to the opposite molar, and anterior portion is reinforced with acrylic. These are also asked in your practicals. These are also kept as your spotters, so you should know all these appliances very well. The Catalan's appliance is also very frequently asked as a short note. appliance which is used to correct the developing anterior crossbite of young patients whose permanent molars have not erupted and deciduous molars are also lost due to its extraction. Its main mode of action is when the appliance is worn, the teeth can come into contact with only in the anterior region during the various function, and it has an inclined plane of 45 degrees which helps in correction of the crossbite. It's used on lower anteriors where the appliance makes use of muscle forces and guides erupting tooth in normal position. Looking at the activator, it was introduced in 1908 by Viggo Anderson and then modified, and it is also called as the Norwegian Anderson and Hoppel, and it is also called as the Norwegian appliance. So the question can be asked as Norwegian appliance also. What is the mode of action of the activator? Activator induces the musculoskeletal adaptation by introducing a new pattern of mandibular closure, stretching of the elevator muscle, that is the myotactic reflex, condylar adaptation in the upward and backward direction. You need to enumerate all these mode of action when it is asked. It is much easier given for at the undergraduate level. Passive tension caused during sleep and swallowing, that is the viscoelastic property, has to be well understood. This is the image of the activator. Another important question that asks is bite registration, a correction when you're any of the malfunctional appliances. We are looking at the modification of the muscular activity as well as advancement of the mandible or correction of the orthopedic correction. So correction of special relationship of the osseous structures to eliminate the neuromuscular compensation which existed as a response to malocclusion is called as bite registration. What is the rule of 10? As a general rule, initial activation should be reduced overjet by 5 to 7 millimeter, leaving an interocclusal space of 3 to 5 millimeters between the. So this is basically the rule of 10, where anterior positioning and vertical opening should be a total of 10 millimeters. So general consideration, in case the forward positioning of the mandible is by 7 to 8 millimeters, the vertical opening should be around slight to moderate, around 2 to 4 millimeters. If the forward positioning is not more than 3 to 5 millimeters, then the vertical opening has to be around 4 to 6 millimeters. Now, another important question that is asked is trimming of the activator. What are guiding planes? The acrylic surface that transmits the desired force by the contact of the teeth. So, in order to guide the eruption of these teeth, because most of these malfunctional appliances are given during mixed dentition stages, guiding these teeth, the trimming of the activator is done. So, in case, for example, if we need intrusion of the anterior teeth, then in those cases, the acrylic is only given on the incisal edges or incisal tips of the teeth, and even the labial bow is placed below the convexity of the tooth, maximum convexity of the tooth. If you want sagittal correction in the posterior direction, in that manner, if you want distal movement of the molars, in that case, mesially the acrylic should be touching on all the mesial surfaces of the molars, as you can see in the down diagram. And if you need the mesial movement of the molars, then in that case, all the acrylic should be touching the distal portion of the molars. So this is the way a trimming of the activator is done, and the teeth movements are guided into position. In transverse control, again, if you want expansion of the teeth, then acrylic has to be more given on the, and there should be the buccal surface of the tooth should be free of the acrylic, as well as the palatal surface of the teeth should be loaded with the acrylic. What are the modifications of the activator? Bow activator by Schwartz. We have the Wunderer's modification. We have the Cybernator by the Smith. Propulsor by Mullenman and Hotz. We have the Palissy activator by Metzel, a Korvetsky modification, and Heron's modification, which is mainly used for vertical correction of the mandible. We have the Bionator, which is given by Balters, which is less bulky and more elastic than activator. Here we see the standard Bionator, which is used in class 2 Devan cases, a class 3 Bionator, whether it is used in class 3 malocclusion, and we have the open bite Bionator. So there are 3 types of Bionator. The main mode of action of the Bionator is through modification or modifying the function. Frankel, or the functional regulator, which was given by Rolf Frankel, mainly works on 5 pillars of Frankel philosophy. One is the vestibular arena of operation, and it has the sagittal correction via tooth-borne maxillary anchorage. We have the differential eruption guidance. We have the minimal maxillary basal effect, so it has minimal effect on the maxilla and more effect on the mandible when we want the advancement. Periosteal pull by the buccal shields and the lip pads are seen. So these are the 5 main pillars of the Frankel philosophy, which is routinely asked, and you all should know that. Types of the functional regulators, we have the FR1, which is used for class 1 and class 2, div 1 malocclusion. We have in FR1, we again have the FR1A, which is used for mild to moderate crowding. We have FR1B, which is used in overjets or which are around 5 to less than 7 millimeters or 5 millimeters. We have FR1B, which is C, which is used for in overjets which are more than 7 millimeters, and step-by-step advancement is done in this case. In FR2 is primarily used in class 2 div 2 cases where there is a protrusion bow which is placed in order to proclaim the anteriors. FR3 is used for treatment of class 3 cases. We'll show you what the changes are. Open bite, and FR4 is mainly primarily used for open bite and bimaxillary protrusion, and FR5 is Frankel, which is modified to incorporate the headgear indicated in long face patients. Frankel 2 appliance, which is used for class 2 div 2 primarily. We have the Frankel 3, as we can see here we have in class 2 div Frankel 2. We have which is primarily used for class 2 div 2 with the protrusion bow out here, which helps in proclination of the anteriors. We have the Frankel 3, where we can see the lip pads which are given in the maxilla instead of the mandible in order to restrain the abnormal forces of the upper lip on the maxilla as seen in the class 3 and allow the development of the mandible. Also, and restrict the growth of the mandible. The labial bow is given on the lower arch. We see the Frankel 4, we see the occlusal stops which are given on the permanent molar as well as the deciduous molar in order to restrain the eruption of them in cases of open bite. We have Frankel 5 appliance which has the soldered tubes on them which can incorporate headgears in them during treatment. We have the twin block biofunctional appliance also, which is most popular because they are two blocks. It's not a single block, unlike the activator, so they are way more comfortable for the patient. It was introduced by William Clark, and it effectively combines the inclined plate intermaxillary and extraoral traction. So you can also incorporate headgears along with this in order to restrict the growth of the maxilla if needed and advance the mandible. So the main components of the twin block here are the base plates, the pipe blocks, and the wire components like the Delta clasp, which is preferred as compared to the Adams clasp. And we have the ball end clasp for additional retention, and expansion screws could be used in the upper arch. Since when in a twin block, when we advance the mandible, the narrower part of the broader part of the mandible comes in contact with the narrower part of the maxilla, and therefore we need to do expansion in order to avoid crossbite in some of the cases of advancement of the mandible. Here you see the inclined plane, which is the inclination which is preferred usually is 70 degrees of inclination. Earlier it was tried by Clark for 90 degrees and then it was also tried for 40 degrees. But however, they both did not suit, and therefore the 70 degrees of inclination is given on the bite block on the inclined plane of the twin block. Now coming down to the Herb's appliance. Herb's is a rigid fixed functional appliance. It was given by Emil Hertz in 1900 and then was later modified by Hans Panchers in 1979. It is, unlike that, the Jasper Jumper appliance, which is also routinely asked as a question, here these are both are fixed functional appliances, unlike the activator and the bionator, biofunction, Frankel and the twin block which we saw, which were removable biofunctional appliances. Jasper Jumper appliance is not rigid like the Herb's appliance. It is more flexible. It is fixed to that, and it is a tooth-borne functional appliance which was introduced by James Jasper in 1980. These are the frequently asked questions on the myofunctional appliances. It mostly asks about the activator, it will ask you about the bite registration, it will ask you about bionator, Frankel philosophy, and discuss the Jasper Jumper and the Catalans appliance. Now coming down to the last topic of my presentation, that is the